Hello, everybody. This is your boy, the Sports Dr. Spock, Mickey Coleman. The Detroit Pistons last night lost a pretty good and close game to an undermanned Cleveland Cavaliers team, which didn't have Max Strus, Donovan Mitchell, and another player or two in play. But is there cause for concern in Detroit? We're going to go to first take with Stephen A. Smith and Monica McNutt to speak on this. Let's go.
He's ready to do it. Let's get into it. Here we go. Last night, a rough night for Cade Cunningham offensively as the Pistons lost to the Donovan Mitchell-less Cavs 113-109. It was the Pistons' fifth straight game with less than 10 made threes. That's tied for the longest such streak by any team this season. Cunningham shot 4 of 16 from the field. He finished with 10 points. Jalen Duren was the only Piston to score more than 20 points. Will the Pistons' lack of creators be the downfall for them in the playoffs? We know how they can be against the Knicks, but against everybody else.
Jeez, Jay.
What do you think?
I think this is the scouting report on them, right?
Lack of creators, more so lack of shooting, because they got guys that can create. As far as LeVert off the bench and Cade, who basically leads the league in assists, we have creators. And Jalen Duren, you say you need Cade to set him up. No, you don't. Jalen Duren can play high post and take any center off the dribble, and he has good footwork and can play in the block. Tobias Harris can play in the low post. So you have people that can create offense. They don't have perimeter shooting.
This is what everybody has said. Cade Cunningham, dynamic, deserves every bit of the MVP conversation that he is in. Jalen Duren, an all-star this year. Those two in the pick and roll, Jalen Duren's ability to run the rim, or run, I should say, effective in the paint. But the reality is that, to your point, because it's actually factually true, outside of the way that they have shot versus the New York Knicks this year, they typically are not, I would not describe them as prolific from the three-point line. And in a league that is so heavily predicated on scoring and shooting, their second scorer is sort of a question mark in terms of who's going to emerge consistently. Because right now, when you look at that team and the way that most teams tend to play them, the only guy that is night in and night out drawing a double team, shifting the defense, really affecting the gravity of it all, if you will, is Cade Cunningham. And last night, 4 of 16 from the field for Cade Cunningham, just not going to get it done. You will look at that box score and see Tobias Harris, Asar Thompson. They have decent nights, but it was very clear that Cleveland was like, cool, we're going to let the rest of y'all cook, but chop the head of the snake off, and that's what they were able to do.
Still barely won.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I think that's the one thing that we have all the confidence in the world they could beat the Knicks because they've stomped on them. But in the same breath, coming out of the Eastern Conference, you're going to need somebody else to step up to help Cade Cunningham. And it's got to be somebody other than Jalen Duren. It's got to be somebody from the 1, 2, or 3 position. The big boys are going to get theirs. They're going to grab rebounds. They're going to get putbacks. They're going to create havoc that way. Their size, their girth, their physicality is going to come to their advantage at some point. But in the end, when you come down to the wire and you need clutch baskets being made, it would help to have another option other than just Cade Cunningham if you really, really want to make the most of the opportunity that will lie in front of them. That's what's going on right now, whether it's a Tobias Harris, who you got? You got Asar Thompson, you've got Duncan Robinson. These are not guys that you can rely upon to come through for you. So that's really the impediment to the Pistons' success. That's why you don't see anybody picking them to win the championship. They could win it. You're thinking they could come out of the East, but you don't think they can win the championship because you're devoid of that secondary scorer. The issue, however, that works to their benefit is that even though they struggle to score, they don't struggle to stop people from scoring. Mm-hmm. And you do win. You do win when you can stop people. Yeah. They can stop people. So they have that to their advantage, which means that most contests against them are going to be tight. It's going to come down to the...
Yeah, they are a very good defensive team. When you look at their numbers across the board defensively, they're top tier in the league in every major defensive category, including defensive rating. So that will actually help them. In fact, the 2014 offensively was actually worse than this team. They were better as far as perimeter shooting, but as far as scoring, no, they didn't have anybody on that team that averaged 25.
to the wire, and we'll see whether or not they're capable of making the most of it.
Yeah, I say that's the only thing that I was going to add. They can turn some teams' water off now, and they can get to the boards pretty well also, but we will see. And I think, Touche, they are probably a team that is better equipped to win one-offs, a la the regular season, than to deal with a team having the opportunity to adjust over the course of a series.
Okay, and the big reason why, obviously, as we go back to it, is that they don't really have that true number 2 option. So as we look at the entire East now, which number 2
It's not that they don't have a number 2 option. Durant is the number 2 option. And he's been proving that since the All-Star break. He is the number 2 option. They don't have perimeter scoring. They tried to add perimeter scoring when they traded away Jaden Ivey. I hated that trade, by the way, because you traded Jaden Ivey for a guy, Kevin Huerter, who is a shooter but hasn't shot well in the last couple of years. But he can't even crack the rotation. We don't have minutes for him. It didn't even, the trade to me didn't really even make sense. You could have you would have been just as well off just letting Ivy go. Because Herter is not helping you, at least not right now. And who knows if he'd be able to help the Pistons at all this year.
option?
I hated that trade. And you know what? I'm not the only one that hated that trade. No key, that whole team hated that trade. They ain't want to see Ivy go. And if you were to see him go, you would expect a little bit more. They wanted a little more back for him. So they really didn't like the trade. Whatever. You still got to play your boy and your friends and people you get close to get traded all the time. But everybody on that team won't say it out to the media, but I bet you they hate that trade.
Have the biggest impact come playoff time? What do you think, Stephen A?
Wow, that's a tough question right now because you don't have a number 2 option in Detroit. There's not a definitive number 2 in Boston. In Cleveland, it could be Harden and Donovan Mitchell's number 1. In New York, it could be Karl Anthony Towns to Jalen Brunson's number 1. But the Knicks win the less Karl Anthony Towns shoots this year, which is a strange stat.
So if the Knicks actually have a number 2 and you see how they played against the Pistons this year, does it really matter?
But it's reality, as Eminem knows. And, of course, with San Antonio, Stephon Castle or De'Aaron Fox, you're looking at Denver with Jamal Murray to Jokic, you get that. So, for me personally, though, if Jalen Williams comes back healthy to help out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
yeah, they wanted to chip again.
Oklahoma City Thunder repeat as champions.
No doubt.
If he doesn't come back, then I would have to pick Jamal Murray because the first-time All-Star, who's a deserved All-Star in all of our eyes, who's a champion and a closer, I don't think anything is going to drop off from him this year. I think if Jokic can get his bearings under him and get close to 100% and Jamal Murray is healthy, I think that obviously it's 1 or 2 in that regard. Jalen Williams first and then Jamal Murray in Denver second.
Okay, so that's all great, but I asked about the East. So do you think it's Karl Anthony Towns, or do you think it's
I didn't know you asked about the East. I had no idea. I'm sorry. Damn. I didn't know, Jay. I didn't know. I would say Cleveland. I'll say Cleveland. I would say Cleveland. I would say Cleveland with Harden.
Okay, that's probably what I would lean towards too, because Harden's such a wild card, especially in the playoffs. But who would you say?
I still think I got to go Karl Anthony Towns. And here's why I say, because while the numbers are a little funky in terms of scoring, when he is on the glass, when he is playing aggressive, and one thing that he said to me after the Knicks went to Toronto and beat them for the 4th time this season, he mentioned that the Knicks are beginning to understand how important their defense is to unlocking their offense. Because I will admit, I have been one that's been very critical as their defensive rating has actually climbed into the top 10. I'm like, is that real? More and more, it's becoming real. So to me, it's not just about Karl Anthony Towns' ability to score, but when he's on the glass like a beast, when he's defending, when he's being smart and avoiding being in foul trouble, he still is a guy that has sort of gravitational pull on the floor and can draw a double team to help create some space for Jalen Brunson. So if he's playing well, I think he stands to have the biggest impact in that role.
Last night they were fantastic.
No doubt if he's played well, but they still can't beat Detroit. So the only team that I really think can beat Detroit in the East in the 7-game series would probably be Boston or maybe Cleveland. Those two, that's about it. Really just Boston, because you don't know what you're getting out of James Harden in the playoffs. You don't know if that team may even be healthy in the playoffs. So with all teams being healthy and at 100%, let's say all teams are. Cleveland, Detroit, Boston out of the East. It's just really three teams. And then there's everybody else as far as the East goes. San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and Denver. Stephen A. was right about Denver. Pretty much that's it in the West that I think can win it all. Y'all need to watch out for San Antonio. San Antonio is very good with Wembanyama. Very good. But this is your boy, the Sports Doctor Spock. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video. And I am gone for now. Peace out.